Actually, there is really a secret technique circulating in northeast China. Exchange living souls for dead lives. Just put the virgin's body into the soulful coffin. It can help the old lady with the Dragon Ball renew her life and transform her body. When a woman is carried into a coffin, all magic tools are starting to operate. The coffin also keeps shaking. After a few seconds, calmness returned. Open the coffin lid, women appear. Let the old lady and woman change their skin. My baby, I like the fart you picked. On Chonyuan Festival, epidemic victims displaced to Zhang's butler, enthusiastically accepting them. Strangely enough, the butler only allows women to eat inside. The man was sent away by a bag of money, except for the dining area. Airport. I can't go anywhere. For the butler, the girl just turned a deaf ear. She saw a door ajar. Out of curiosity, she walked in. I didn't expect it to be a spiritual hall, and the ones hanging on the wall. It was Mr. Zhang, who had just passed away, who was the butler leading the girl out of the room. Just happened to bump into Mrs. Zhang. Have you ever been dirty by a man? I never learned that the other person was still a virgin. Madame Zhang immediately asked someone to bathe the girl. I thought I was being taken in by Mrs. Zhang. A good day is coming soon. But unexpectedly, it was a nightmare to welcome him. I saw the girl covered in spells all over her body, driving a group of people into a gas turbine, pressed in front of a coffin. The one lying in the coffin is Mrs. Zhang. Immediately after, the two were placed inside the prison together. The surrounding mages began to practice. As the level trembles, the turning over ceremony has been officially completed. That's it. The blooming girl has turned into an octogenarian old lady. Years after the arrival of time. At this time, Yodasa was seriously ill and entangled, so I wanted to borrow the Dragon Ball to continue my life. He spent a lot of money recruiting a group of people with unique skills. Form a tomb raiding gang, searching for Dragon Ball. Let them just enter the desert. Encountered a rare sandstorm in a century. A group of people were blown upside down, but accidentally fell into the cemetery. Seeing quicksand about to fill the cave. Critical moment. Feng Shui Master Xiaohei opened the wooden door in time. Office. The crowd who narrowly escaped the death quickly rushed in. However, what they don't know is, the real danger is about to come. Two robbers enter the tomb to search for treasures, not paying any attention to the imminent danger. One-eyed person walking at the back of the team. Suddenly, I felt someone patted him behind me. Four eyes on the other side are planning to grow up with Widow Amy. Just as the relationship between the two reached its depths, the torch on the ground suddenly extinguished. People in the same industry heard screams, quickly rushed over. Fortunately, Four Eyes are safe and sound. But the fat man who followed was brutally killed. Just a few minutes ago, Fat Man and Kiwa encounter a ghost bride. During the escape process, when the fat man is lifted up by a huge force, he just realized he was holding the wrong person. The fat man was scared and ran away. Coincidentally hit the same haunting Four Eyes. Under four frightened eyes, he regarded the fat man as a ghost. Repeated stabbing. The poor fat man was stuck in a wasp nest. Too late to grieve. Everyone began to search for the Dragon Ball. After observing for a moment, Xiaohei, open a door. What catches your eye is a huge spiritual hall. A group of tomb robbers arrived at the underground ancient tomb. There are paper people everywhere here, and it's also filled with coffins. Suddenly, the paper man behind him touched a bowl of water on the table. Disappear at a speed visible to the naked eye. Let's take a look at the paper man. It's all wet from the neck down. Unexpectedly, the paper man drank the water. Just then, the torches have all been extinguished. Behind the man with glasses, the paper man stared at him tightly. Looking back, just pressed the paper man down to the ground, and behind everyone was a group of paper people. It looks extremely eerie. Just as everyone was puzzled, the paper man behind rushed towards them, and then forcibly dragged them into the coffin. When Xiaohei wakes up, find being in a cemetery. He's here. He saw the 7 points that had passed away for many years. I thought, I will never see you again. Today, we can be together again. You are not yet Curl. You don't love me. Fortunately, Zirei responded promptly. Knowing that these are all illusions, he lifted the lid of the coffin, hurried to wake up the others, and then the lascivious Four Eyes won't be that lucky anymore. Directly died in a fantasy world. Xiaohei discovered the clues here through Feng Shui's secret technique. He directly ignited the spirit hall with a fire. As the fire spread, it opened up. The exit also appears. The surviving crowd quickly followed up, but they wouldn't even dream of it. This is actually a more terrifying passage. This is the nest of the centipede. Officer, in order to survive, pushing down the emerald flower, to buy time. But seeing Amy in danger, the officer decisively fired a gun to help. Sure enough, Amy is the true love. There are more and more centipedes in the tunnel, just as everyone was about to perish. But the centipedes stopped. It turned out to be in the dark. The power of these centipedes has decreased. Everyone took this opportunity to carefully pass through the nest. Lucky in misfortune, they finally found the true entrance to the tomb. Everyone takes a small boat. Prepare to cross the river to the opposite bank. But at this moment, the emerald flower bitten by a centipede undergoes a mutation. Instantly pounced on the one-eyed officer closest to him, and saw it. Lift up the oars. Just a greeting. Seeing Kiwa arguing incessantly, he just shot his first few people, and successfully arrived on the other side. A huge palace appeared before us. His Soul Control officer is not far away. Everyone quickly opened the coffin. I didn't expect the Dragon Ball to be right in front of me. Looking at the baby in front of me, one-eyed was excited. I have already developed an idea of taking it as my own. The officer behind him smiled but remained silent. One glance, lose a penny. Don't kill my son. I won't argue with you. I called you. That thing is all yours. So is Wan Kalai. I'm also yours. Just then, the fat man who first received the box lunch walked over with his sister Kiwa's body in his arms. As a result, you saw this thing in the ancient tomb. What would you do? This is the largest tomb raiding film by mice in recent years. The plot is stimulating and brain-burning. Multiple reversals make the audience unable to stop. Just released. Attracted the admiration of 300 million people. Turns out he had been pretending to be crazy and foolish before. Fake death hero following behind everyone. I'm planning to come and catch a fisherman. But my sister lost her life midway. But it had to be unexpected. Fat man holding a sharp blade. To seek revenge from an officer. The little black on the side immediately stepped forward to help. However, even if two people worked together to besiege, not an officer's opponent. Unexpectedly, the fat man was stabbed several times, and then Zero was directly knocked unconscious. After solving two people, the officer picked up the Dragon Ball, smiled proudly, but the fat man hasn't died yet. Thoroughly come forward again, and then he was stabbed in the abdomen with a dagger. But the fat man still pulled out the dagger with one last breath, and then a knife stabbed the officer's body. I didn't expect the praying mantis to catch cicadas. The man higher up, the gunshot suddenly rang out. The shooter was May. Turns out he's the one who hides the deepest. Now only the little black woman is left. May is preparing to shoot, but I didn't expect the tomb to suddenly collapse. Xiaohe hurriedly fled with his daughter. May still wants to take the Dragon Ball with her before leaving. Who knew that karma came too quickly? The fall officer is not dead yet. Finally, he hugged May and jumped into the abyss together. The end of the story. Xiaohe takes his daughter to see a doctor, and the Grand Marshal is planning to use Dragon Ball to continue his life. But rumors are ultimately rumors. The Dragon Ball does not have the miraculous effect of being transformed to extend life. Life and death are predetermined. End of story. The beginning of the story feels quite exciting, but later on, it completely failed to catch up with the previous story. I missed a good start. All the crew members are like fans of a fanatical tomb raiding film, make every effort to create a tomb robbery link, not paying too much attention to plot setting, but in the part where the paper man was burned, his overall effect is quite good.